Adventure of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman, W4CY Radio, and I'm here with...
Away from Voivod.
And Chewy from Voivod.
Voivod! Oh my God. I just have to say that first thing I have to say is I had my Warm Pain shirt out today to wear it, and then I thought about it for a second because I have this rule at festivals. I'm like, I won't wear a band unless they're like, you know, Ozzy. I won't wear a band shirt that while I'm doing interviews because I don't want the other bands to like, why aren't you wearing my shirt? So I'm interviewing Sanctuary later, so I was like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't wear that shirt today. I'll wear it tomorrow. But I gotta tell you, one thing I really loved about your set here at Hell's Heroes is how much fun you were having. Like to be doing this for 44 years and still have that much fun and smiling the whole time, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's fun to play music, and I can't stop personally, and I just love it's really contagious as well, so people smile back at us, and it's a big party. It's really cool.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to hats off to you too. Like 44 years playing the drums and still being able to have that energy. I don't know if I could do it. I have a lot of energy, but I think it's one of the most underrated things of how much you have to put into it. I mean, like even look at Neil Peart. You know, I mean, like he couldn't really do it towards the end.
Yeah, it's luckily I don't have anything going wrong with my wrist, and I'm being careful. And also, I pretty much stopped partying more than 25 years ago because I wanted to keep going. I saw a long time ago Tommy Aldridge with White Snake, and I thought, hey, if I want to be that guy, I better, take care of myself, eat well, and all that. So I can still go for. I still have a few years left, I think.
I love it. I saw Tommy with Ozzy, and that was cool.
Yeah.
I saw Randy with Ozzy.
Yes.
That was super cool. I even saw Pat Travers play guitar for Ozzy, because after Randy died, that year I saw 3 guitarists of Ozzy. Randy, Brad Gillis, and Pat Travers. I think Pat Travers played like one show.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Wild,
Tommy
right?
Aldridge was playing with Pat Travers at first in the 70s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. Yeah. So how about you? How does it feel to be doing this all these years?
Man, it's a bit, the context is that, I was a fan of the band when I was 11 and 12 years old. I'm a bit younger. But I was listening to Piggy and the band and the composition, and I've been a fan since then. And I bought a guitar after that. And I wanted to start a band myself. And tragically, Piggy passed away in 2005. And for everybody, I think, even the guys in the band was over, Yeah. And this opportunity of playing a festival, and there was an offer, and they Snake and Away thought about it, and we kind of met a few times before that, and it was supposed to be only one show in 2008, to pay tribute to Piggy and say hi to the crowd, and we never stopped since then. So it's been 18 years or so. I'm in the band, and I enjoy it, and every time we go out and we tour, it's like just paying tribute to Piggy every night, and and composing and putting out albums, and the energy is there, and the fun, like Away said earlier, like we have fun. So
yeah,
it's hard to stop when you have fun.
Otherwise, what's the use of being in the music business if you're not having fun? Because the rest of it sucks.
It's with the music business, there are many ups and downs, and now it's, of course, with streaming, it's difficult, but thankfully we are the type of bands that we sell a lot of merch, and that's it's really handy on the road. And also, we one of the bands on Sony that sell a lot of physical like CDs, vinyls. So I think that the old school bands are still selling merch and CDs and vinyls. Otherwise, for younger bands, it must be pretty tough.
Yeah.
They have all the tools, internet and all that, but there are like thousands and thousands of bands, and you really have to find your own signature so people to be noticed, and yeah.
I always talk about on my interviews, I tell my listeners, like, if they don't buy the band's merch, they can't listen to my show. Because it's the only way you guys make money nowadays. Spotify's fucking everybody over, and it's like, even in my business with streaming, I own streaming radio stations. I'm licensed, pay royalties, do the reporting, and some of my, I would say colleagues, but they're not really colleagues. They're like, well, they should just be happy I play their music. I'm like, do you work for free?
Exactly. Yeah.
My philosophy about streaming is that I will never blame people for using the service because it's amazing how it works.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault. So I think it's the whole system behind it and the way the money is distributed. But
I'm talking about like the people, not the listeners, but like the other streaming radio stations that they don't get ASCAP, CSAC, Sound Exchange, BMI, SOCAN, and all those licensing, and actually like pay the artists. I think that's what you should do. And I want to get back to merch because there was something really cool I saw at your merch table. But I do want to take a second to talk about Piggy because I was so impressed and like felt so cool when I was at your website and you have a page just dedicated to him. Like, to me, that says everything I need to know about the band.
Yeah, Piggy, he was our mentor, and we were always a step behind trying to catch up with him. And, he started very young, and he was, when we met him, he was already super good. And we basically, on the first 3-4 albums, I was still learning how to play, but he was already up there, and many people's hero and very influential. He will always be known as an innovator, but unfortunately, he was pretty young when he passed.
Yeah,
it's really sad. Yeah.
And one thing about him, too, that I really like, being an old school metalhead from back then, is like bands nowadays and metal, a lot of new bands, I always say they follow like this algebraic equation, like it's a formula to make metal. And metal in the beginning was about experimentation. That's exactly what Piggy was all about.
Yeah, he was not only listening to metal. He was really into Anvil and Raven and Tank, but he liked krautrock, modern composer like classical music, and also avant-garde music. And so he was interested in everything. He absorbed everything. He was a bit less into punk rock than Snake and I, but we were there to bring the punk rock element.
And that's the thrash element right there.
Exactly, yeah.
And let's go back to the merch. So I was looking at the stuff, and I know about your book. That's super cool. But then I saw the kids' book.
Yeah.
Your merch guy didn't even know about it till he started working for you guys. I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And it's all in French.
Yeah.
So that's like totally cool.
Yeah.
Who came up with that idea?
It's a guy from Quebec, and it's actually a publisher that they do only kids' book. And so he came up with this thrash metal book explained to kids, and so it's the story of Voivod with really cool drawings, and we love it. It's selling very well, actually.
And nobody else does that. Like,
I don't think so.
All the bands are doing beer, whiskey, and you guys are doing a kid's book. I love it, man.
We do have beers and hot sauce and all that, but this is like the item that everybody loves.
I'm also very excited about this year, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I saw that not only are you going to do a new album, not only are you going to do a live album, but you're going to do a video game, and I'm a gamer, so that was pretty cool. Can you tell me about the video game?
It's a very talented guy, Nicolas, and he did a video for us, Target Earth, and he came up with the idea of doing like this end of 80s, early 90s style of visuals for the video game. We can't wait until it comes out. Rocky is testing it right now. He says it's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's one of the crazy things that happens to us, and also, I mean, we lately we've been doing shows with the symphony orchestra. That's another thrill. So we're gonna release a live album in June with Quebec City Symphony Orchestra.
Wow,
yeah,
that's way cool.
Yes.
And so, what haven't you done? Like. In all 44 years.
Movie soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's what we want to do, a science fiction movie soundtrack.
I was going to mention, too, like even better than that, a sci-fi movie about Voivod.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to have an animated movie with the character
like
and all that. Yeah, that'd be really great. I mean... The only being a rock and roll drummer on the road and in the studio all the time, it'd be hard for me to come up with an animated movie. But I've seen lately my drawings animated by AI, and it's pretty impressive. So that could be something. Except that I'm torn between because it's not really great for the environment, and so because of all the water it takes to cool the electronics and all that, yeah.
Besides, the machines are going to take over, like we've been saying since the 80s. Nobody believed us then.
Skynet, it's coming.
Right. Exactly. Skynet is here.
Yeah.
So, also, I want to say something I really loved about your set, something you did. There was some kid that he crowd surfed, came over, and he fought like 10, like not really fighting, but
I know what you mean.
The security guards, 10 of them are trying to stop him, and he's like reaching out to get your guitar pick, and you reach out and he got it. And I was like, that's badass. That dude will remember that forever.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the kids are so amazing, like the mosh pit and the screaming and the, chanting the band's name between songs. And they're young kids, they were not there in the 80s, they were not there in the 90s, but they know their old school stuff and they appreciate it and they relive this era, so to speak, and we're still there playing the music and they know the stuff, they know their metal.
And that's what I love nowadays, because when I was in LA in the 80s and going into all the shows, and like I was at Metallica's first show, Slayer's first show, never would there be somebody my age there. And if they were, we probably wouldn't be there. It was like my dad was listening to Frank Sinatra. He used to like, turn that shit down, you're all a bunch of Motley Crue, and now I've brought my son into his first mosh pit, and I brought my grandkids into their first mosh pits. Like, and you see that now, like it's multi-generational.
Oh, yeah. It's funny because thrash metal is more popular than ever, and the kids are trying to look like us back then, and we like South America, they get crazy and all that, and we cross paths with our friends from Testament, Exodus all the time, sharing stages at festivals, and quite often we're wondering how come we're still popular, even more popular than
right.
I think. Well, we think that is because we talked about the destruction of this planet a lot, and so it's still relevant. That's what we think.
Oh, I'm with you. Like, if you take the metal and punk bands back then and their songs, all you would have to do is change a couple names, and they're appropriate today, which blows my freaking mind.
It's like a recurring nightmare. We used to talk about Chernobyl and then Fukushima, and now it's like the Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant in Ukraine getting bombarded and all that. Or we talked about acid rain, and now it's global warming. And so, like you say, we could change a couple of words, and it's still the same nightmare. The nightmare continues.
Blows my mind. I remember me and my friends, we'd be like, it doesn't matter. The whole world's going to blow up in 1984. And what are people talking about now? The whole world blowing up again. Like, it just,
Oh yeah, for a while in the 90s, I was talking about nuclear war, and the journalists were like, "You're so retro." I was like, "No, man, the high tech weaponry is getting crazier by the day." And now you're talking about like drones flying by themselves and deciding who they're gonna kill and all that by themselves. And so, yeah, and of course, the nuclear war is back to the front line, you know. And so
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, but we're still happy fellows because what are you going to do except we can only talk about it in our songs. And
Exactly. And that's where, okay, so I won't mention who. Everybody knows who it is, but somebody was saying about how musicians should not be talking about this stuff. They should just entertain people. Like, hello, hippies, punk rockers, metalheads. It's always... even back in the times of like Elvis and the Beatles, it's always been something. And why shouldn't you talk about it in your songs?
Well, I think it's sometimes sensitive, but I think what Voivod was always been doing is using science fiction to talk about actual matters that, you know, some stuff that's happening in the reality, but so indirectly. But it has its impact, the same impacts. But I think through science fiction and you know, imagery and stories and the music, it can bring more people together.
Yeah,
and we can see it in the crowd. You know, all sort of people from different azimuth, and I think that's the power of music too.
I keep talking about. I have this idea of how we solve all the world's problems. Have one big music festival that everybody's required to attend. It'll be a metal festival. It could even be part punk and part metal. And just get everybody in the mosh pit and we'll all just work out our problems in the pit. It's a much better way to go. It stopped me from beating people's asses and stuff. Like you just take your shit out in the pit, pick people up,
exactly,
hug each other, and it's all over.
If somebody falls down, you pick him up, and people see it as a scary thing, but everybody helps each other, and it's, you know, when I was a kid, I didn't know about nuclear stockpiles before I discovered crass conflict, dead Kennedys. So some people have to talk about it, but like Chewy said, our way to do it is like some true sci-fi folktale sort of, you know, but the message is still there. We don't name anybody. It's not that political,
right?
But we try to open the eyes of the kids.
And I don't think you really have to name people. It's more about the things, you know, and look at what was sci-fi when we were young is now real life.
Yeah, we used to try to find... For our lyrics, Snake and I used to sit down and try to figure what was going to happen in 20 years. And now you just have to talk about what's going on now, and it's total science fiction. You know,
no doubt.
It's actually impossible to predict what's going to happen in 20 years now.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned the dead Kennedy. So while we said that, I do want to put out positive vibes right now to Jello because you know he's suffered a stroke and. Positive vibes for him. One of my most memorable moments, which will be my next question for you guys, is being at Aftershock Festival back in the press area, and he was back there. They weren't playing. He wasn't playing. He was just back there, and he just started having a 45-minute political conversation with me, and it didn't even matter what he said. I was like, oh my! Afterwards, I'm like. And I never fanboy out. I was like, oh my God, I just had a political discussion with Jello Biafra.
Jello is an old friend, 40 years now. Yeah, wow. When he was having problems with the No More, when he had the No More Censorship Foundation, he had problems with the Frankenchrist poster and all that. He got sued. And I wrote to him in '86 to wish him good luck because he was going in court and all that, and we stayed friends.
Nice. So that brings me to my final question for both of you. One story, good or bad, that you will remember out of this whole 44-year run, what would it be?
Oh my God, there were so many... so many bad ones and good ones. I think my favorite one was we were opening for Rush, and I had seen people opening for Rush getting booed off the stage, and I was really, really scared, especially when we played in Toronto with them, and this was in 1990. And when we played Astronomy Domain by Pink Floyd, the crowd went louder than the music.
Wow.
They were enjoying it so much. So that is probably my favorite moment. And another one is when we were doing the touring with Ozzy. Jason Newsted was in Voivod and was also with Ozzy. So we were touring with Ozzy a lot. He was doing 2 shows a night. What a warrior. And then I got lost in an arena and I found Ozzy. He was lost and I brought Ozzy back to his backstage.
That's a great story.
My highlight, maybe not a story, a highlight with the band is the symphonic orchestra show in Montreal and in Quebec City, and can't wait for the album to come out. It's pretty amazing.
I can't wait either. Well, you guys killed it here at Hell's Heroes as usual. And I do have to say, you were talking about the chanting. I was at the pre-party and yesterday and today so far. That was the first band that I heard so much chanting for the band in the crowd.
Cool. Right on.
They were here for you.
Nice.
And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Thank you very much for having us.
Thanks.
Hello, this is Away from Voivod. You're listening to the Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.